Okay, let's go.
Well, hello there, Chick Chatters. We're back with the finale to the never-ending Teen Mom Family Vacation saga.
Yeah. So glad
Yes.
to be here.
So glad to be at the end with you guys.
I don't know
Yeah.
why I hate, but I really love at the same time the theme song to this. You show up, we show up, everybody. I don't know why, but I'm always on my couch like bopping.
Oh, I guess I've been blocking it out.
It's a very annoying song, but
Yeah.
it's catchy. It's stupidly catchy. So Cate and Ty are on their date, and Ty is still crying, and we're trying to figure out why. And they wanted to dangle that there might have been some problem going on, but instead he's just grateful for their journey. And this kind of started the theme of the episode a little bit, which is couples going on dates and reflecting. And I don't know, it wasn't my favorite thing in the world. It was just kind of boring to me. I felt like a recap of the whole season. But anyways, obviously Cate and Ty, they're like the sweethearts of Teen Mom. I didn't need to look back with the colors and all of that.
Yeah, the colors just keep throwing me off. I'm sick of this black-white color thing. Even though it was nice to see Kayla and Tylers look back for the millionth time in my life, because you gotta remember I've been watching this with them, and I've been watching this over and over again still for like 20 years. So
yeah, they do look back at least once a season.
Especially specifically on them. It's nice to see that, but it's just these random neon colors that are just making me want to throw up, making me sick. So I'm glad to not have that anymore. I hope that this stops with the family vacations. I don't know if that's a thing that is happening or if it's just this season. But after their date, we got another date with Sean and Jade. And these people are getting ready while Mackenzie's doing a headstand challenge with her boyfriend, Casanio, while she's waiting to go to the airport. I was like, what is it? What's happening?
I was surprised that he won.
I feel like they got to be doing this all day. So I wasn't surprised that he won. I feel like that this is the couple that they get up in the morning, they have coffee, and they're doing headstands and running on their feet and their hands in the morning.
No, I hear you. You're probably right. But yeah, I figured he was definitely going to be showed up by her.
He is a cheerleader. Yeah. She's very sad to leave. You can tell she didn't want to go, but she is going because he's got to go to work. They kept saying that. They kept teasing, like, almost. I felt like they were about to get engaged or something. Wasn't they about to get engaged, or did this happen on the next chapter?
This will happen supposedly. I don't know if it's going to be filmed. I'm sure if they're around, they're going to film it. But they did just recently get engaged.
I confused that news with them getting engaged here, so I'm sitting here waiting for them to ruin this whole thing with Cheyenne's anniversary. I'm like, oh god, they're going to get engaged on Cheyenne's anniversary. No, and then
that would be so bad.
I know, but I like Casanio for her. It was nice to see them, but it was nice to also see them leave at the same time. They also reflected on her and Cheyenne's little argument, whatever that they wanted to do for a few episodes there. But one thing I will say is no Spanish word of the day, no Mr. Dr. Mike, no last relationship coaching, nothing. But they wanted to sit here and praise the coaching the entire time. I'm like, y'all didn't even show them the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, you and I were highly anticipating some kind of big coaching session. I get that the last little group thing was very impactful and moving for everybody, but why not keep building on that and bring them all together to do something about the future or whatever? They just disappeared. Like they were booked and busy somewhere else or something. I don't know where they went.
These people were ranting and raving about these coaches, even the girls' mom, and the girls' mom has been a side character since she got there.
I forgot she was there until midway through this episode.
Remember, she tried inserting herself at some point. That's how I even remembered she was there, is because she's like, oh, I learned a lot on this trip. Last trip, I was so closed off. I was this, I was that. I was like, Leah, what? I didn't even know you were still here.
I know. I thought that she had went home or something. And did she get her own therapy session? Did I just space out during all that, or?
No, like I said, we haven't even seen the girls' mom since she got into a fight with Kaya, and ever since then, she's just been a side character. When something happens in the common areas, she's just there to watch and laugh.
If Leah is not making a mess of herself in some way, MTV does not want to show her these days. Or given the girls a speech about life and life skills.
We saw her a little bit in that one big therapy session, kind of echo some of the same things that everybody else was saying. They showed her at a time where we just saw the same thing be said like 3 or 4 times. So then when it got to Leah, it almost felt like, I know it was genuine, but it almost felt like it wasn't. So it was just kind of like, okay, girls is mom.
Like shoved
But
in there.
yeah, but I'm sure it was actually genuine, and I'm sure she's been through these things. But it's like after you've seen it be said time and time again from,
Mhm.
and then you get to the girls with mom, and she's very vague and very like
It makes her look closed off, even though she's saying she's not closed off. They should have put her first, and then everyone could have repeated after her. Anyways, back to Jade and Sean's date. They go on. Do you know how to say it properly?
boudoir, I think it is, but
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna try because I'm also
Yeah, like
from
a sexy lingerie shoot. We'll call it.
yeah. And this is a big step for Sean because as he keeps acknowledging, and he's the only one that keeps acknowledging this, he called the photographer. I think they thought they were just going to do like a photo shoot, wear nice clothes and stuff because they got all done up for like photo shoot and they looked good. But they walked into a bedroom, and I'm sorry, but it didn't look like just a regular, nice, beautiful boudoir bedroom. It looked
It was
like
not a
a
studio. It was
Motel
a
6.
hotel room.
Like
It
a
was
motel.
echoey in there. It probably had a smell to it. Like it definitely was not what we
There
would,
was
I
a
think,
sketchy
expect.
man inside. It was just
He
strange.
had a thing with a tail, with a setup. You guys can go watch it.
I can't believe he brought that. Like he does the photos where they stick something like that in there,
I
and
think it was just a
like
prop, but not a real. I don't think he was trying to actually shoot a pea, but I don't know. Mm-mm.
I'm gonna say that I'm just surprised that Sean or whoever even picked it up because I'd be like, oh my god, other people probably used this if he
You know,
felt
I'm sitting here
really
right now and I
crazy.
almost wonder if the producers even planted that because didn't Macy and them weren't they passing those out for the party? I
I
feel like
don't
the
know.
producers probably just threw that in there to be like, let's just test Sean one more
Oh,
time and see how
really?
his boundaries are. Because everything else was handcuffs, bikini. Those things were more.
And then they ruined this guy's reputation like that, like bringing that, like.
I feel like a producer threw that in there just to test Sean a little bit. And you know what? He passed the test again. I love Jade and Sean. I'm a full fan at this point. I wish them all the happiness and togetherness and foreverness. Although it looks like they're going to continue to fight about Chloe in the next season. So I guess we'll see what happens. But
Well,
I mean, relationships aren't without fights. But
at
I
least
thought
she's
this was
there. But I do like that Sean's been opening up and trying different things for Jade. I wonder if the photographer was actually just a producer. They just like booked a hotel room in a Motel 6 and just threw some toys on a bed. And Sean's like, I hired somebody. You hired somebody, Sean? Who'd you
he
hire in
hired
Colombia?
like second cameraman. Yeah, that's a possibility.
Who did help Sean hire this man? Because I've questioned.
Definitely somebody helped Sean do this. It was not I don't
It wasn't normal.
I don't know. So they have their little shoot. I agree. I did like the pictures that they showed us, still photos,
Mhm.
but I didn't really probably need to see, once they started shooting them.
Jade looked
Yeah.
good. I'm glad that they focused on Jade because I think that that's really what makes a boudoir shoot is the woman. So
Yeah.
looked
I've
real
never
good.
seen a man do one alone, like I've seen a lot of women do
Yeah.
them. Could you imagine?
I don't know. I'm sure that they have and put it on their OnlyFans. It's just not content we've ever looked at. But I'm sure Tyler has.
That's just probably just called something else.
Yeah, I'm just sure that Caitlin's just his photographer during his OnlyFans. I'm sure Tyler does this like once a week.
Probably does. Crawling all over their bed and shit.
Speaking of Caitlin and Tyler, we go back to everybody hanging out, waiting for Mackenzie to leave, and they talk about the highlight of their trip. And Tyler says that the highlight of his trip was the last party he went to, which was the lingerie party. And I'm like, of course, that's the last. Before Macy left, it's the freshest in your mind. Everything after that, you guys kind of like, even if you were there, you went off to the side. I remember, wasn't there a party where they were cuddling on a little swinging bench thing?
Yeah, they went out to a whole rooftop and stuff. I have a suspicion because I felt like I heard a little something in the microphone that wasn't supposed to be there of Tyler arguing in the background, but I feel like Something happened at that party because after that, they didn't really go out with anybody ever, even
Yeah.
if it was at the house. They didn't even go to the 2000s party. They could not be disturbed. They were watching Netflix.
Must have been with production or something though, because if it
I
was
think
with a
it
cast
was.
member, I'm sure it'd
Yeah.
get aired.
No, I
So
totally think that it was an issue with production. I remember I've listened back to it like 6 or 7 times, and I was trying to hear what he was saying, but it seemed like he was pushing back, "I'm not talking about that," or "I'm not going there." Like, I'm not I don't know, but I definitely heard it, and
they
my
probably
interest.
want him to talk about more of his trauma because they bring these people there to talk about all their traumas and stuff, and they know Caitlin and Tyler are just chock filled with them. But we've heard of most of them.
They were probably trying to
Jin.
talk about Carly.
Oh, maybe because they're
They
not supposed
didn't
to talk
mention Carly at all in this. I mean,
about.
not in a bad way. I think, like you said, they're not really supposed to talk a lot about it, and every time they do, they end up getting repercussions or
Trouble.
backlash either from Brandon and Teresa or from the public or whatever. But I wonder, producers probably push for that a lot, and especially when they're out drinking and having a good time and trying to celebrate their relationship. I bet that could be a huge trigger for him to just say, "I'm not going out anymore," and having the risk of getting too drunk and the producers asking these ridiculous questions.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we have
Can't
Cheyenne
wait.
and Zach's anniversary, and
Yeah.
apparently that's what's going on this episode. And they start getting ready for this party that they're throwing. Cheyenne and Jade are throwing it for Cheyenne and Zach's anniversary / the last night everybody's there. White
Producers are
Twitter
throwing all
party.
the parties. Nobody is throwing these parties.
I know they did like an all white Diddy party.
I was just gonna say that. Like, is this not the worst week ever, or even last week or the week before, to have an all white party air on television? We all get Diddy vibes when we see an all white party. It's
Yeah.
time for that to be done.
Between the all white Diddy party that they had, and then the next episode we see is going to be Jade and Sean's wedding where everyone's wearing black. I'm like, okay, like I'm ready to see color again.
Everyone's wearing black.
At Jade and Sean's wedding, the dress code was black, so everyone wore black besides
Oh, I
Jade
didn't
and
know
Sean.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, I
all the
didn't know
guests
that.
even had to wear black. Yeah.
I'm gonna spend an extra $10,000. I'm just trying to still figure out how much they
Well, she
spent on
didn't pay
that.
for their outfits. The nice
I'm
thing
just
with black
kidding.
is
No,
everybody owns it, but like her pictures
I
look
know.
beautiful.
I haven't seen any, so I should look.
Her pictures look absolutely beautiful, and I think that's part of it is just that she really stands out. But so between those two parties, I was like, I'm ready to see some color again. So they're at this bonfire, and it's become this, I don't know, it was a weird kumbaya type bonfire. They made a big deal at some point about the flames getting big and the embers and things, and I'm like,
I'm
I
telling
can't
you.
believe they built it up like that just to go on commercial break for. And I'm like, for God's sakes, none of these people been to a Michigan fire. I didn't see Caitlin or Tyler or Corey freaking out. We all know if you've been in Michigan or you live in the Midwest, you've been to a bonfire, right? So at first the flames do get really big, but you don't sit right next to it when you first start the fire. And then you back away and then you come over when the fire settles down. It only takes a few moments.
Yes. Yes. No, I thought it was hilarious that Sean is so protective of Jade. He's the only one that freaked out because he kind of freaks out about Jade. He has a little bit of a hair trigger when it comes to trying to protect her. Even the moaning exercise, which he said was still his favorite thing or his high of the season. But he
Mhm.
was very protective of Jade, very protective of himself. And now one little ember comes over and he's like, her hair could catch on fire. We gotta move. I was a little worried though, because I don't know. I've never been to Burning Man or anything, but they were trying to have little mini Burning Man there with this burning of this totem. What happens once it all burns up? It's got to fall at some point. Gravity doesn't cease to exist because you lit something on fire. So I was very concerned. I think they tricked me a little bit because I wasn't worried about the embers necessarily, but once they started talking about, like, well, this is burning really fast and blah blah blah, I'm like, what happens when the middle of this thing just gives out and then all this like fiery stuff just comes raining from the sky? Like, that was gonna happen to them.
They were sitting so close to it for being so big.
Called this a bonfire so many times. There was no bonfire. They had a whole Burning Man festival totem pole that they
Yeah, it was
just
a
sat next
mountain.
to as if it was, you're supposed to be like, I don't know, I've never been there, but you should be like 20, 50 feet away from that thing. It's
Yeah,
gonna be hot.
Burning Man, they don't sit that close to it.
No, they have a whole little enclosure around it.
They really built up that fire just to go on a commercial break. I was livid. I was like, I'm already over this episode. It was going better than the last episode to me. I think it's just because they focused on the couple's dates and stuff and not Kayla and Ryan and the nonsense. But, soon I was put in my place. After commercial break, we come back and everyone's just kind of talking around this fire again. And all of a sudden, the fire isn't a big deal anymore. And we're all reminiscing on the trip and all the things they learned on the trip and how great these coaches and everything has been. Although I haven't even seen Dr. Mike in like an episode, and I haven't seen the other girl in more than that too. Like it's only been like a whole episode or two too. So it's like y'all been on your own for at least 2-3 days now. I don't know, but everyone decides to go around and talk about what they got out of this trip, including the girls' mom, who, like we said before, could open up. Brianna says that it wasn't her Colombian man, it was her opening up as well. So, like we said before, the whole you can get stuff out of this trip, everybody got something out of it. I'm like, of course. It's the theme to get something out of it.
You get what you give.
Yep. We get over to Kayla and Ryan, and they talk about how this trip saved the life of the baby, the life of the whole baby, and their family. And I'm like,
their family, their relationship, their future. I just could not believe. I don't know. And I know last episode you and I were like, oh, maybe they're getting therapy behind the scenes. I just don't think they are. I think Tyler's helping everyone behind the scenes. That's why earlier all the men got together. They were all like, "Oh, hey, Tyler, thanks for all the help." Like, what? Like, Tyler is a wise man. He has been to a lot of therapy, and he probably should be a therapist, but he is not. So I feel like they should have offered them a whole lot more help if Tyler had to be doing all that heavy lifting in the background. I hope that they put him as an executive producer or something at this point. I mean, he needs a pay raise for the work he was doing.
He honestly does. I just can't believe they're still after that last episode where they threw out the whole we're keeping the baby like it was the gender reveal. Now they're going to come in this episode and say that the life of this baby was in dire straits, depending on if they came to this trip that they both came to separately. She said, if it wasn't for this, we wouldn't have kept the baby. That was for her words. I was like, what do you mean? How can
I know.
What? This trip
so much so even we skipped this part earlier, but Kayla asked Kaya to be the godmother. That's how much Kayla, I feel like, is really like, wow, this trip was so meaningful and good for her. I'm glad if they did the healing they need to do. I really hope that it lasts, but it just seems hard to believe and a little strange.
Seems like they're doing a lot in a little amount of time too. They were late to this trip.
Alone together, alone, like COVID style, alone together.
Why didn't you guys, if it was that serious to where you were about to get rid of a whole baby, why didn't y'all just get the therapy when you were at home and make these tough decisions at home? So this way you have like a home therapist. You don't have to go home after this and be like, what now? And say, well, we're going to keep doing it. But then are you? I hope they're still doing it. I hope that they found a therapist at home because holy crap, they made a lot of decisions in this one trip apparently. And this one trip saved the life of a child.
On the last episode, I think that we saw, they did agree to go to couples therapy together, and it was Dude's idea. So I do think that in itself, just the agreement to commit to working on it and trying to heal together, that could be very valuable for them. Just the fact that they did couple sessions, a session, it didn't hurt them, and everything was fine.
It's nice, but it still threw me. I mean, I just was not prepared. I thought we were done with this. And then that's when I was completely done with the episode. You know what? I got to also say, I skipped the whole yacht thing. And I think I skipped it because I really don't have anything else to say about it except for the whole godmother thing. They built it up just to piss me off. Like they were going to tell me that she wasn't going to keep this baby all of a sudden after making a huge deal the last episode. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done with these people. So I think I probably just blocked it out. But
no, I don't know. That was the only important piece that came from that yacht thing. But they did go on a yacht. Tyler was impressed. It was a cute yacht.
Whatever. One thing I will say is I don't think these people understand how godparents work either. Kaya's automatically like, I'm going to be in their life forever now. Like she's having this baby with them. A lot of my cousins have godparents that were my cousin's friends or like whatever. and they
Yeah.
don't even really know these people anymore. That
Yeah.
shit can happen. Usually it's safer to pick somebody in your family, not saying that you can't pick a best friend or something. You definitely can, especially if you're lifelong friends. You can do that. And then she's like, my child needed a god sister. And I'm like, that's not, you didn't just adopt a child.
I know. I mean, the roles can vary so much depending on the culture that you live in too, from literally just a title and nothing else, which I think is
True.
wide in American culture, especially more modern American culture. And then you could also, I know people who are more religious, especially in Christian cultures, you go for the baptism, you go for whatever. And then, I mean, sometimes people are their family members, they're right there all the way through birth, and all these
Yeah.
things are expected. So, I mean, it really just varies. But I actually have both of my godparents are friends of my parents. So I have that situation. And just like you said, I actually have it both ways. So the godmother is one of my mom's friends, and she still talks with her a lot. She's going to be at my wedding. She'll probably be named on like the little ceremony thing, whatever. But my godfather is somebody that my dad chose. They don't really talk anymore. There was some things that happened actually with me and their daughter, and so none of us really talk anymore. So that's definitely a risk of that too. Although now I'm a fully grown adult, I don't need godparents for much. And they never really do anything other than be your godparents. I have it both ways, and it's different when it's family members. It's just they're always gonna be there. My
It's a
dad
little
didn't pick my uncle because they don't get along, but my uncle is still my uncle, so, I mean, he's still
right.
gonna be around. You know?
You might have been a better choice.
Probably, yeah.
And it does depend too on like how much you indulge in the whole godparent thing. I just thought
Yeah.
that was quite silly. I mean, if you're making a decision like that on the fly, and then I love how Ryan was like backing it up too, like, oh yeah, we really been thinking about this. Like, you guys just decided to keep this baby apparently a minute ago, and now you've already decided a godparent. You guys don't probably know a gender. You don't know nothing else, but you just decided right now that Kai is going to be godparent. This wasn't producer driven. What? That whole thing annoyed me. So I was like, I'm done with these people. And then they wanted to throw this whole baby's life again at me, and I'm like, stop it. I'm about to call CPS on you people.
They put me on a whole commercial break trying to wait with bated breath to see what else they were gonna say about this baby, and I just let's move on.
At this point, if this show was actually popular, I couldn't imagine people not having a fit over this whole storyline because it's just getting more and more ridiculous. The way MTV is ending it.
Yeah,
Is
it's
just
one thing to
making it worse.
acknowledge that that's the struggle that they're going through, but the fact that this has been the storyline for 6 episodes over and over, you're putting us on commercial breaks at the edge of our waiting about the decision about a life of a baby, then the decision's been made and you want to stir it all back up again. For what? For what? I think the producer, the editors, I think that this is like shameful at this point, and I'm not offended by people making choices like that, but this is just too much in your face, too much of a dangle. It's just no.
It's making too much light of it too. They're like acting like these people are dangling if they're gonna have breakfast that morning or not.
Yes,
Literally
like,
making it seem
a dress or a shirt today.
they're making it seem like it's such a lighthearted decision, and they're having her say stuff like, I know she said it, whatever. If I wasn't at this trip, I probably wouldn't have kept the baby. It's like, I don't need to hear that. Like, it's one thing I feel like when it's part of somebody's story, but this is a family vacation. I was not planning on this. They're trying to go Jersey Shore already with this whole family vacation. It's like Teen Mom trying to do Jersey Shore because it worked for Jersey Shore. Even with them trying to cook dinner, whatever they tried to do the one episode. I know what they're trying to do here, but I don't think that like this whole storyline was necessary for this trip. I think that it kind of dampened it. And I think it really pissed me off towards the end because I'm like, it's not even my baby. And it's not something I should even have an opinion on because it's not something I should really even know this much about. I feel like that kind of decision is very personal. If you want to, like you said, spotlight the decision, that's fine. It feels very lighthearted and weird, even though it's such a heavy topic. It's very confusing. But I'm sorry, I did not follow Kayla. I did not follow any of her story before this. This is my first taste of this woman and all this nonsense. And to me, it's just like, why? Why did MTV do this to her?
I'm sure there's a video from MTV somewhere about Kayla's journey or Kayla's story. You should watch it. That is entertaining.
No.
You said these people are crazy. This is not even the half of it. This woman had a full-blown fight in the streets with her baby mama's mama.
I understand.
Not only did she fight in the
Gotta
streets
have
with her baby daddy's mama, her baby daddy's sister did a whole lunge at her when she was on the couch talking shit to the mom. This stuff is crazy pants.
They just edited everything just so weird. I know it's supposed to be like a more lighthearted show, but that whole issue is so dark, and you could be triggering people that are going through that or have been through that or even don't agree with whatever anybody's opinion is. That could be very triggering for anybody to watch, and they just keep throwing it around.
I was happy to be done with it last episode when they made their weird little announcement that they were keeping the baby, which I also don't think was necessary or tasteful whatsoever.
No.
They could have just announced between the two of them at their picnic like they did that they're keeping the baby. We could have just left that storyline right there at the beach.
And I'm not mad at Kayla and Ryan really as I am MTV, because these people need a paycheck, right? So I mean, they're doing what they got to do for a paycheck. They don't know how this is going to be edited. They don't know what's going on here, but it's MTV that's like putting it on TV this way. And I'm telling you, if more people paid attention to this would be something that MTV would be getting chewed out for online. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, and the thing is I don't mind them making it more common to have conversations about these things. I think that is great, personally, my opinion.
But that's an episode.
That's an episode, and it's still something that needs to be honored as a private, serious conversation. Those are conversations that should happen between doctors and women and their partners, and I think we're honored to be able to hear those conversations, but to have them dangled as a storyline, a will they, won't they, I just don't think that that's appropriate. But I just think the producers have really made that. They just turned that into something that feels yucky. I think that they kind of did a disservice to Kayla, because Kayla has been open about this in the past. She's being open about her choice now. I can't say enough how much courage that probably must take to be open about this stuff publicly. And I just think the producers did her such a disservice, because they could have made this a story about making a hard decision and deciding things between a relationship, whatever. It didn't have to be, let's announce this at a party where we're all dressed up. It just made it seem so minuscule. I get what you're saying.
One last thing, Kayla might be upset about all this editing and stuff too. She might actually feel away. I just couldn't imagine being that child one day watching this season and realizing that you were literally on the line. It just took your parents going to Colombia and separately for you to even survive. That's heavy. Crazy. Even if it was true, you couldn't pay me to say it on TV. You just couldn't. So I don't know these people. But anyways.
So Corey just cannot let one episode go. He cannot let the final day go on without pretending that he's gonna propose to Taylor. As you can see, I'm having a hard time with my words because I was furious about this. I knew that he wasn't gonna propose. We all knew he wasn't gonna propose, but why sit there and do the weird, stupid pause? Tyler's face when he was like, when dude kept talking, that's how I felt. I was like, what do you mean? Just leave it alone then. Leave Taylor alone.
Yeah, Taylor's done enough. Just leave her alone. Let her go home to her kids in peace.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to do it now, just thanks for all the wisdom, everybody. Can't wait, to blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Just don't bring it up.
And I can't believe he intended he was going to do it now. This was Cheyenne and Zach's anniversary. Don't propose to Taylor on this day. And right after the people were talking about keeping their child or not. This is not. Taylor wants to be done up.
She wants it to be all about her, as anyone's engagement proposal should be. It should be about you. It shouldn't be with earrings. It should be with a ring. And it should be about you. It should not be on someone's anniversary or someone's wedding or someone's birthday. That's not yours.
Yeah.
Those are the rules. Here's to hoping, I guess, that Corey follows those rules and they get engaged sometime soon. The fact that Cassano and Mackenzie just got engaged.
Listen, I was going to say that Taylor, when she heard that news, was probably punching the damn air. I felt like Cassano was going to do it on that damn Colombia trip, so I'm glad he didn't. So too. I'm so glad he didn't, because that really saved Corey.
I think he decided on that trip that he wanted to, though, to be honest, which I think is cute. But I thought Maybe he even got the ring there. Who knows?
I think that he decided the moment he saw her in that pink hair, he was like, "That's the." They keep replaying that clip of him.
But you know what? My heart was full of joy for them. I really like them together. I'm excited. It looks like Mackenzie is going to be joining the next season of Teen Mom Next Chapter. So I'm actually excited to see her, which is such a change of heart. I think Mackenzie gets the most growth award. I didn't even want to see the growth. I was not interested in it. Neither was Cheyenne, and she hugged her at the end of the trip.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for her story. She's a lot more fun to watch now that she's not so controlled by Josh. She's not as boring. I very much felt for what happened with her mom, and for a while it was just really depressing, and I know that that's not nice, but it was just not great to see her scenes. She was either getting a divorce and arguing and being cheated on with Josh, or her mom was passing away and her dad was not well, and it was just really hard to watch for a while. And I'm not saying that you should abandon your friends when they're going through that, but I just don't want to watch it on TV when I'm trying to chill out. It was too sad for a while.
No, you're right. So we're done with this season. We'll probably do short recaps on next chapter. Haven't completely ironed out the details, but we're still going to keep up with these people because I don't know how many seasons they have left.
Now that you and I have this platform, I can't imagine us not talking about Teen Mom if it's going on, because that's just what you and I do. It's a lot of what we discuss. So we might as well record it. We might as well share it with you guys. Let us know in the comments if you care at all about how we cover this season coming up. I can't promise that we're going to listen to those things or follow them, but we would be interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are. I think right now we're thinking about doing more of a sort of focused episodes when something crazy kind of happens, but not doing these views like we have been doing now. Stay tuned and follow along with us. We'll be around. Keep your eyes out and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to hear more. Had a good time with this season. I will say I like the way that it was set up. It could have been about 4 episodes shorter.
Yeah, that's true. We'll catch you on the next one, Chick Chatters.
Okay, bye.